Wow, Rudy Giuliani. This is like the old days. Rudy, first off, Rudy, you just were not right about Joe Biden. You were so right so many years ago. You got it in print at finally the book that we put out. That's amazing, The Crime Family. But you've been right on this forever about him being, dementia, not being there, Praetorian Guard, put him in office in 2020. You have fought this good fight. You've been indicted about it in Arizona. We'll get to all that, and not just Arizona, all over the place. Talk to me about Joe Biden and the cancer cover-up, the Praetorian Guard cover-up. What's your recommendation? I think we need a formal investigation, not a House. We don't need Comer doing it and then fail 2 years later and write some book that nobody reads. We need a grand jury. We need prosecutors. We need a special counsel. Your thoughts, Rudy Giuliani?
Well, you're absolutely right, and it's a very broad one. It's really has to do with the people who cover this up. Possibly it doesn't meet the legal definition of treason, but it is treason. If you and I know that the President of the United States is non-compos menace, we're double-crossing our country if we let him stay there. Now, in my book that you wrote the foreword to, thank you, on page 143, 144, I go back to something in the hard drive. So please remember, this was available to them in December of 2019. By then, I mean the FBI
this is the
and the Attorney General.
People understand this. This is Hunter's laptop from hell, which Rudy broke. Continue on, sir.
Yeah, and this is right out of it. It jumps right out at you. It's a conversation with his questionable psychiatrist, Keith Abloh. Abloh, the psychiatrist, says to Hunter Biden, does he recall details, though, with the dementia he has? That's the doctor. Hunter said, not much these days. We're going back to 2019, my friend. But since it's all fake news anyway, I don't see the problem. The psychiatrist, Abloh, is he a go for sure? Running? Hunter says, according to inside sources, which I can neither confirm nor deny, he's in it to win. Abloh says, any man who can triumph over dementia is a giant. Think what he could do for our nation's needed recovery. Think of what he did do. Hunter, you're such an asshole, but that made me laugh out loud. Now, they go on talking about his dementia. It jumps right out at you. That was available almost a year before he stood for office.
Okay, but Rudy,
the FBI had gone through it completely.
Rudy, hang on, full stop. It was available in November of 2019 to two guys who were Republican nominees, Bill Barr, the Attorney General of the United States, and Chris Wray, the director of the FBI, that both reported to President Trump. So what happened here? What happened?
I don't know. What happened here is and much more was available to them. They let them get impeached when they had definitive evidence that whole thing with the Ukraine was a total put-up job, the conversation with Zelensky, et cetera, and they let their president get impeached. I mean, I don't understand why Barr is not under investigation. I don't understand why the former head of the FBI, I don't understand why Comey's not in jail.
Rudy, if the president of the United States picked up the phone and called you and said, hey, come over to the Oval, I got to talk to you, and said, I need a special counsel that can start with a running start and knows all the details about Ukraine and other things, would you take that job today?
Sure. I have my hand up already. I've taken the oath for Ronald Reagan.
Okay, what would you do? Walk me through. Okay, what would you do? Tell me, what would you do?
Well, I'd have to start several investigations and then see if they can be merged into one. First of all, I do the one outlined in this book. I mean, I already have it outlined. And that is the RICO case against the crime family. There'd be four specific predicate acts of bribery. They would involve Russia. They would involve Ukraine. They would involve China, probably about 8 separate ones, bribes from China. I'll give you an example. I'll give you a quid pro quo for China. He got altogether 31 point something million that we can count, right, from China. First thing he does when he gets his hands on Afghanistan is he gives up the Bagram Air Base. Bagram Air Base is 400 miles from China. No American in their right mind would give it up unless the American were bribed. He never did anything to pursue recovering for us for COVID from China. He allowed fentanyl to come into this country at records that exceed any other American presidency almost combined. So there are plenty of quid pro quos for the Chinese money that he got that no sane or insane president would do.
If he's got the beginning of dementia, and remember, we had Mark Caputo on here the other day who broke the story about the Herd tapes, and he said, hey, he reported in 2019 how people were talking about how Biden didn't have his fastball. And the Axios had another story yesterday about how Democrats in the House in 2023 were saying he shouldn't run again. But in the first campaign, are you going to also go around the Praetorian Guard, the deep state that put him in? Remember, why did Ray and Bart not surface this? Because Bernie Sanders or Pocahontas or one of those people would have been the nominee. They had their nominee. They had the cipher. They were going to steal the election around, which was Joe Biden.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, you can go back to Hillary extorting him with this back in 2015 when she told him that she knew all about Hunter Biden. I mean, everybody knew about Hunter Biden. It was not only ones who didn't know about it, the press. And the reality is you also would put them all in a grand jury. Now, that's very different than one of those silly congressional hearings. First of all, they have to answer. And if you feel that they're not materially involved, you can give them immunity. If they don't answer, you put them in jail. That's how I.
So you would impanel. Okay, so hang on. So you're telling me you take over special counsel, you would impanel a grand jury right away, or would you designate the FBI to give you some investigative apparatus? I want you to walk me through your critical path because we're going to promote Rudy Giuliani. Are you the best guy to do this? Yes or no? Are you the best guy?
Well, I am. I'm the best guy to do it in terms of knowledge and experience and having never lost a case as a prosecutor, including some of the most difficult cases of the 20th century. Am I the best? And the press will go nuts. But if whoever takes this job, at least I'm already, they've gone nuts on me already. And I've already proven, I can put out, as you said, for everything they say about me, I can prove I told the truth.
I'm not worried about the media. I'm not worried about the media. They're defeated anyway. What about, can you work 18-hour days? To do this, the head guy here has got to be 18 hours a day, 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. You agree?
I'm going to be doing that until we have my funeral, Steve. I mean, I do that now. And plus, I would get I get the very best. I mean, the people who helped me crush the mafia, and some of the younger ones who are doing a great job. The reality is,
what about the cancer cover-up? Where does that come in?
Oh, come on. I had prostate cancer 25 years ago. I've been cured of it for 25 years. My father died of prostate cancer, a horrible death, because he got it late, because they didn't have a test then. There's no way in the world you develop that cancer in 2 days. How about more like 20 years? But the point I'm making, as ill as he is, do you call him in and depose him for 4 days in a row, nonstop? Unless his lawyer stops me and we have to litigate it. I had a great one once with Joe Bonanno for 4 days and got him held in contempt because he said he was too sick to testify.
Was Joe Bonanno on the Gleason 9 for cancer? That's what I'm saying. I know you've done this before.
But he had avoided jail
You broke Milken, you broke the mafia. I got that part. But I'm saying today, with a guy that's 80-some years old and has, Gleason 9 or whatever is advanced prostate cancer, does Rudy bring him in? Does Rudy bring him in and you grill him for 4 days? Because Herb played patty cake with him.
He's going to have to make the case that he's not capable. Actually, the better case is he's mentally incompetent to really what Herb was trying to say, but didn't have the guts to say it, is that Biden is incapable of participating in his own defense. He's so far out of it. I think that would have been true a year ago, and that's a real problem.
Okay, but hang on. In saying that, the Attorney General of the United States should have gone to the cabinet. Where's the 25th Amendment? If that's the case, why is Garland? Why are we not going after Garland immediately? If Herb made that case, and I think he does make that case, the guy's commander in chief. We just talked about the Golden Dome. He's commander in chief. He's the guy that's got the codes for the nukes. Doesn't Garland have a moral responsibility and a legal responsibility to go tell someone that, and they start to move to remove the guy, sir?
Every single one of them sitting in that cabinet room watching him dribble had the responsibility to do that. And for 4 years, they sold out their country, including his wife and children and family and the people who have been immunized. Question is, has Hunter been immunized from that? It's a broad-based immunization. There is a legal question as to whether you can immunize what you don't.
Whoa! Hang on. You're saying that do you think these blanket preemptive pardons include this situation for the family like Hunter and Dr. Jill? Do what?
You want to bet don't you believe they're going to say that? If it does, by the way, here's the catch-22: they have to testify. They have no ability not to testify. If they indeed have a blanket pardon, then they can't incriminate themselves. Particularly if I limit my question to that 10-year period. Then, if they don't testify, you automatically put them in jail, and if they commit perjury, you prosecute them. So I would say this is a necessary way to clean up this horrible system of justice we have, and finally make it equal and fair for all.
Okay, we're going to talk about this. We're going to go to Arizona next with Rudy. Rudy, hang over a second. I want to hold you through a short commercial break. Fascinating. Rudy Giuliani. He said if he was offered, he would accept. And he's ready to work 18 hours a day, 7 days a week to get to the bottom of it. And that's what you're going to have.